Every payday, a slice of your paycheck disappears into something called a 401k. Most people never check where that money goes. They just hope it works out. And that hope is quietly costing some of them hundreds of thousands of dollars. In the next 20 minutes, you'll see exactly how this machine works, how your money gets in, how your employer doubles part of it, what taxes and fees quietly take out, and the 5 mistakes that drain it. Let's open it up. First, let's clear up the biggest misunderstanding. A 401k is not a savings account, and it's not an investment either. A 401k is a container, a special box the government created with different tax rules inside than outside. The strange name? It's literally the address of a paragraph in the U.S. tax code. Section 401, subsection K. In 1978, Congress added it almost as a footnote. Nobody planned for it to become the way America retires. A benefits consultant named Ted Benna read that paragraph in 1980 and realized it could let regular employees save from their own paychecks before taxes. Within a few years, corporate America adopted it. Today, roughly 70 million Americans have one. Here's why that accident mattered. Your grandparents' generation often retired on pensions. The company simply paid them a check every month, for life. Over the last 4 decades, private pensions have all but disappeared. The 401k took their place. Notice what changed in that trade. With a pension, the company carried the risk. With a 401k, you do. How much goes in, into what, at what cost? Your choices now decide your retirement. And nobody hands you a manual. Consider this video the manual. So how does money actually get in? Meet Maya. She's 28, earns $60,000 a year, and just got access to her company's 401k plan. She picks one number, the percentage of her salary to contribute. Maya chooses 5%. From now on, every single payday, $250 leaves her paycheck before it ever touches her bank account. She never has to remember it, never has to decide again. It's automatic. How did she land on 5%? A widely used rule of thumb from Fidelity and others is to work towards saving 10 to 15% of your income for retirement, counting the employer's contribution. Maya isn't there yet, but there's a floor everyone agrees on, and you'll see it in the next chapter. That automation is the first hidden superpower. You can't forget to invest, and you can't chicken out because the money is gone before you see it. Behavioral economists call this paying yourself first. The machine enforces it. It's become so automatic that for newer plans, it's the law. Since 2045, most newly created 401k plans must auto-enroll new hires at 3% or more. If you started a job recently and never signed anything, you may already own one of these machines without knowing it. One more thing people get wrong. Your employer doesn't hold this money. It sits with a custodian in an account with your name on it, legally walled off from the company's finances. If the company goes bankrupt tomorrow, your 401k is not part of the wreckage. Now, inside the container, the money doesn't just sit there. It buys investments, usually mutual funds, little baskets holding slices of hundreds of companies. Many plans start you in a target date fund, which automatically gets more cautious as you approach retirement. There is a ceiling set by the IRS. In 2026, you can put in up to $24,500 of your own salary per year. If you're 50 or older, you can add $8,000 more as a catch-up. Quick side note, if your job doesn't offer a 401k at all, the government sells a smaller container directly to you. It's called an IRA. Same tax machinery, lower ceiling, $7,500 a year in 2026. Different sticker, same idea. So that's the machine, an automated pipe from your paycheck into a tax-advantaged container, invested in funds. Simple, but the real reason financial people get excited about the 401k isn't the container at all. It's the free money your employer might be putting into it. And most people don't collect all of it. Here's the part that sounds too good to be true. Many employers will match your contributions. You put money in, and they put money in too. It is part of your compensation. But unlike your salary, you only get it if you claim it. The most common formula, according to Fidelity's plan data, works like this. Your employer matches 100% of the first 3% of salary you contribute, then 50% of the next 2%. And this isn't some rare perk for tech workers. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, about 41% of plans match up to a full 6% of salary. Think of the match as a piece of your paycheck that's printed on a separate page. Same money, same salary, just optional to collect, which is absurd. So collect it. Let's run Maya's numbers. She contributes 5% of $60,000, $3,000 a year. Her employer adds 100% of the first 3%, $1,800, plus 50% of the next 2%, $600 more, $2,400 a year. For free. Think about what that means. Before the stock market does anything at all, Maya's money grew 80% the moment it entered the machine. There is no other place in her financial life where that happens. And yet, plenty of people contribute less than the match threshold, walking past free money every single month. If you remember one thing from this entire video, make it this. Find your plan's match formula and contribute at least enough to collect all of it. If raising your contribution feels impossible right now, plans have a trick for that too. It's called auto-escalation. Your rate quietly climbs by 1% each year. Maya sets it once at 28. By her late 30s, she's saving over 10%, and she never once felt the jump. Now for the fine print. Vesting. The match may not be fully yours right away. About a quarter of employers use a cliff, leave before a set date, and you keep none of it. Half use graded schedules, where you earn ownership year by year, often over 5 years. Your own contributions are always 100% yours. Maya's co-worker Dan learned this the hard way. He left after 2 years, under a 3-year cliff. His own contributions came with him. The employer match he thought he had stayed behind. Check your vesting schedule before you change jobs. Sometimes staying 3 more months is worth thousands. One last detail for the ambitious. If you max out your contributions early in the year, some plans stop matching once your paychecks stop contributing. Plans with a true-up feature fix this automatically at year-end. Plans without one quietly don't. That's a one-line email to HR that can be worth hundreds of dollars. But the match is only the second most powerful force in this machine. The most powerful one doesn't come from your employer. It comes from time itself. Before we watch time work, let's open the investment compartment, because words like mutual fund make people's eyes glaze over. The most popular kind today is the index fund. Instead of betting on one company, it buys a tiny slice of hundreds at once, often the 500 biggest in America. You're not picking a horse, you own the racetrack. Remember Maya's target date fund? Here's its trick. Decades from retirement, it holds mostly stocks, the aggressive, bumpy, high-growth stuff. As her retirement year approaches, it automatically shifts toward calmer bonds. One fund, steering itself for 40 years on autopilot. A warning from history about the opposite approach. Enron employees famously kept huge portions of their retirement in Enron's own stock. When the company collapsed in 2001, they lost their jobs and their savings in the same week. Diversification isn't decoration, it's the seatbelt. Here's a hidden luxury of the container while we're inside it. Trades inside a 401k are not taxable events. The target date fund rebalances, Maya switches investments. Nothing triggers a tax bill in there. Outside the container, nearly every one of those moves would. Historically, a broad basket of U.S. stocks has averaged around 7% a year after inflation, over long periods. That is history, not a promise. But watch what that kind of average does to Maya's $450 a month, hers plus the match over time. In the early years, almost everything in the pile is money she deposited, but somewhere in her 40s, the growth starts out earning her deposits. By the end, the vast majority of the pile is growth. Money her, money made. This is also why starting age matters more than almost any other decision. $500 a month from age 25 to 65, At that same 7%, compounds to roughly 1.3 million. Start at 35 instead, and it's about 610,000. 10 years of waiting, $700,000 of difference. Now the honest part. On the way to those smooth curves, the road gets genuinely ugly. In 2008, a broad U.S. stock index fell about 37% in a single year. People who panicked and sold locked in the damage permanently. The index later recovered and went on to new highs. This machine is engineered for decades, not for months. So the machine takes your paycheck slice, your employer's match, and lets time multiply both, which raises an uncomfortable question. If this pile grows so large, when does the government get its share? Because so far, nobody has paid a cent of tax on any of it. Here's the deal you silently signed. In a traditional 401k, contributions go in before income tax. Uncle Sam agrees to wait. You invest the full amount now, and he taxes whatever you withdraw in retirement as regular income. It's tax deferral, not tax avoidance. This has a nice side effect on Maya's paycheck today. Her $250 contribution reduces her taxable income. In her 12% bracket, her take-home pay only drops by about $220. The machine swallowed $250. It only felt like $220. Why would deferring ever be a good deal? Because tax rates follow income, and income follows the shape of a career. Maya pays her top rate on every dollar she earns at her peak. But a retiree drawing modest withdrawals often lands in a lower bracket than their working self ever did. Same dollars, taxed on the other side of the mountain, at the valley's rates. But there's a second door on the machine, and it flips the deal. The Roth 401k, money goes in after tax, no discount today. In exchange, qualified withdrawals in retirement, growth included, are tax-free once the account is 5 years old and you're 59 and a half. So which door is better? Honestly, it depends on one question. Is your tax rate higher today, or will it be higher in retirement? Early career and expecting to earn more later? Many people find Roth attractive. In peak earning years, deferring with traditional often shelters more. There's no universal answer, and that's not a cop-out. It's the actual math. One new rule worth knowing. Starting in 2026, if you earned more than $150,000, the IRS requires your catch-up contributions, the extra amounts after age 50, to go through the Roth door. Congress wants some of its money sooner. Now, the container has walls, and they matter. Take money out before age 59 and a half, and in most cases you'll pay income tax plus a 10% early withdrawal penalty. There are exceptions, but as a rule, money that enters the machine is retirement money. Treat the walls as real. The walls do have a few legitimate side doors. The most useful one is the rule of 55. Leave your employer in or after the year you turn 55, and that plan's money can come out penalty-free if the plan allows it. Hardship withdrawals also exist for true emergencies. Taxed, documented, and best treated as a fire escape, not a hallway. And then there's the 401k loan. Many plans let you borrow up to half your vested balance, capped at $50,000, and repay yourself with interest, usually over 5 years. Sounds elegant, but leave your job with a loan outstanding, and repayment can come due fast. Fail to repay, and the loan converts into a withdrawal. Income tax plus the penalty. It's a real tool, with real edges. And the government won't wait forever. With a traditional 401k, starting at age 73, required minimum distributions kick in. You must begin withdrawing and paying tax on a schedule. The deferral deal always settles eventually. Taxes, at least, are visible. They're printed on statements and debated on the news. The next cost is different. It hides in a single small percentage most people never read, and over a career it can quietly eat 6 figures from the machine. Every fund inside your 401k charges a fee, called an expense ratio. It's written as a percentage, and it looks laughably small. 0.1%, 0.9%. Who cares? Your future self does, enormously. Take $100,000, growing at 7% for 30 years. In a low-cost index fund charging 0.1%, it becomes roughly $740,000. In a fund charging 1%, about $570,000. Same market, same money. The fee difference quietly consumed around $170,000. Two different fees hide in a plan, by the way. The funds charge expense ratios, and the plan itself may charge administration fees. You can't control the second one. You often can control the first, just by which funds you select from the plan's menu. You can usually find your fund's expense ratios in your plan portal, on the fund fact sheet. Reading that one number puts you ahead of most participants. Many plans offer broad index funds at a fraction of the cost of the flashier options sitting next to them. And here's the leak almost nobody talks about: forgetting the machine exists. As of 2025, Americans had left behind nearly 32 million 401k accounts at old jobs, holding over $2 trillion. Old plans, high-fee defaults, statements going to old addresses. If you've ever changed jobs, some of that might literally be yours. Finding lost accounts got easier recently. The Department of Labor now runs an online retirement savings lost and found database. Search your name, contact old plan administrators, and roll what you find into your current plan or an IRA. 10 minutes of paperwork has reunited people with five-figure balances. Now you know the machine, the match, the taxes, and the leaks. Let's put it all together as the 5 mistakes that drain more retirement wealth than any market crash. Mistake 1. Contributing below your match threshold. That's declining part of your own compensation. Mistake 2. Cashing out the account when you change jobs. Small balances feel spendable, but you pay tax, plus the penalty, and you kill decades of compounding. When you leave a job, the vested money is yours and you have calmer options. Leave it in the old plan, roll it into your new employer's plan, or roll it into an IRA. A direct rollover moves it with no tax and no penalty. The box travels with you. Mistake 3. Never looking at what you're actually invested in. Old accounts especially can sit in overly cautious defaults for years. Mistake 4. Ignoring expense ratios. You've seen what 0.9% does over 30 years. And mistake 5. Stopping contributions when markets fall. It feels safe, but your automatic contribution is buying shares on sale precisely then. Historically, investors who kept contributing through downturns ended up with more shares and more money than those who paused. The machine works best when you leave it alone. So, here's the whole machine on one screen. A 401k is a tax-advantaged container, not an investment. Contribute at least enough to collect your full employer match. Know which tax door you're using, traditional or Roth. Check your expense ratios once. And when markets panic or jobs change, don't break the machine. If you do just one thing today, log into your plan and check 2 numbers: your contribution percentage and your employer's match formula. 5 minutes, possibly the highest paid 5 minutes of your year. Everything you just learned is the permanent mechanics. The specific numbers, the limits, the thresholds get refreshed by the IRS every November. The numbers on screen today are the 2026 set. The machine itself hasn't changed in decades. This channel exists to open up money machines one by one, in plain English. Next time, tax brackets, and why almost everyone explains them wrong. If today's video made your 401k finally make sense, subscribing tells us to keep building. See you inside the next machine.